play it over his, then you're gonna be on that thing.
Courage to coach your best players. That was great stuff. And just wondering, Shaq, when you think back on your career, have you had coaches call you out? Because like this film session, Dante DiVincenzo says, look, nobody was spared in that. And so if you had times when you were called out, and how do you think that will affect Anthony Edwards tonight?
Yes, but not all the time. Growing up and watching guys Charles, they took the onus of themselves. They would come out and say, before you said, my fault, won't happen again. So, he has to learn to understand that this comes with territory. You want to be known as the best. We as fans, we as teammates, we as the people in the organization, we expect you to play at a certain level every night. So, he's a good enough player. I'm going to give him a pass and say he had an off game situation in the playoffs. When you're talking about taking down the Grayson, you already took down LeBron, took down the Kings. You can't have both nights. So tonight is a game about how both teams respond. Usually it's one team beats one team has to respond. Tonight, two teams have to respond. And how are you going to respond to your coach calling you out? How are you going to respond? And on the Golden State side, how are you going to respond? Because in all the practices and all the shoot arounds, Steph is there. Steph is come off the screen. This is it. Now he's not there. You only have one day to prepare and say, okay, Jimmy, you're the man guy. So how is both teams going to respond tonight? But answer your question, yeah, I got called all the time, but I took it on myself. Like, it's my fault. I'm the guy. I want this pressure.
Yeah, Chris Finch says he's got to set the tone. What kind of a tone do you want set? And do you run the risk of him being too amped or trying to go at it too hard?
No, not to jump in front of you this way, but I think the one thing that being around greatest players has ever played, I've been fortunate to be on teams with. They get called out, but they don't get called out for their effort. So he's been called out for his effort. Like, if Michael Jordan in college missed shots, no one's going to say it. If Keem Olajuwon was playing with effort, no one says anything. But he called out his effort. You don't have to call all of that out on a great play. So this is where the response. So I don't think he's going to come out amped up taking enough shots. He just needs to play harder.
7 in the chat. What's good? We're watching Timberwolves. I'm being held hostage.
Nothing great in life comes.
I'm doing all right though. They're treating me pretty good.
Enthusiasm first and foremost. And that got the team down. And that is something that he's a magnet for. And if he does that.
17 in the chat. Let's go. How's the audio?
I'm trying to read your body language here.
I can't even believe you asked that question with you. Like, Ernie, this man is coaching his team.
Hold on. Give it a minute. Hold on. I'm fixing it.
These players are such wussies that they can't get criticized. It's so crazy to me.
I'm fixing it. Welcome to Wonderland, Herbert. Where you been?
Tim Duncan and Ginobili Parker always said he yelled at all of us. Yeah. Because what that
Is that better?
As a coach, it keeps your credibility. Because me and Shaq, you can't yell at Kenny. You can't do that. You can't yell at the guys. But he said, well, Anthony can get away with anything. You ain't gonna never win like that if you let your best player get away with stuff. No Steph Curry tonight for Golden State.
Steph out for a week.
Jimmy Butler there. Steve Kerr says it's comforting to know that he's got Jimmy
Did y'all know that? Steph's out for a week.
Jimmy says, look, I'm not a volume shooter, never been a volume shooter. Does he need to be a volume shooter now with no Steph?
I think on the road, it's a test.
They need to feed Jimmy Butler the ball all game. Just fucking give him the ball. This is his team with Steph off the floor.
The other guys can't do anything, and he needs to go on those sprints where he can score 6, 8 to 10 points.
This ain't cereal.
He's not a volume shooter.
This ain't Wheaties. This is pasta.
Score quickly and score efficiently, but I think he needs to just continue to play like he's playing, penetrate, get everybody involved. The others might have to step up if they want to win this game.
Yeah, he says,
They don't have to win this game, but if they want to win this game, I think the others should.
it seems to me, and tell me if I'm off base here, as you saw the OKC game last night, the blowout of Denver, after Denver had assured themselves of a split there. And I'm not saying this is going to be a blowout, but does Golden
I just went on a road trip to go get this pasta.
We're competitive, so Minnesota's not saying, hey, they had no Steph and we cruised and the rest of the series got to go that way.
You have free ASMR while you're waiting.
I'm not saying you're trying to win. I'm just saying you've got to keep this
At all costs. Yeah, to me, in this regard, because if you get up 2-0, you're buying time for the other player to come back. And for me, I look at Kuminga, Pozinski, and Spencer. At this
What you
time,
eating, Clintona?
start this game, there is no game plan for them. We don't care what they're trying to do.
Blackened chicken Alfredo, seasoned grilled white meat chicken, and penne pasta in a zesty creamy cheese sauce.
to that too. He's in the starting
You
lineup.
have to make them have a game. If you do that, you have a chance to win.
If you were gay, would you closet and live streams or be loud and proud?
And Nas Reed, those guys.
That's the question is,
Just don't
if I was, which I'm not though.
I want them to know, y'all can't beat us without Steph Curry. I want
Where they at though?
I'm gonna send them a message.
Catch me outside. How about that?
They can't beat us without Steph Curry. Let's let them know what the next 3 games are gonna be like without Steph Curry. I'm trying to send them a message.
Mom,
Listen, go to
Meatloaf.
stay all the positive they want to.
What's that? Some Fazoli's?
Beat the Timberwolves.
That's some Zatarain's, boy.
Curry in a 7-game series. Now, so I want them to know right now. That's gonna be a long ass flight back.
Older than that.
Let them know tonight. You guys cannot beat us without that man right. That guy's one of the greatest.
It's like fucking 17 years old.
It might have to be Draymond. How do they get out in transition, Kenny? Because he's the one who set the pace. And
Oh yeah, Herbert, you wanna know what takes me back? I just seen Star Wars Episode 3 in movie theaters.
Spencer, when they come into the game or in the game, they have to be the pace setters, and that's why I'm saying, like, when they start you, yeah, Draymond's got to pick it up via point forward. That's the only thing I can
It's been a long time. Welcome home, sir.
Can handle the basketball, he can be serviceable. But that to me is going to be the biggest adjustment, how they going to get pace going. We've got game 2 of that.
That's too bad, dude, because now you don't know anything about Darth Vader.
Social media weighing in on
Don't worry, Herb. I'm almost done eating. All right. We're good for now. I'll give you some water. How old do I look, you guys? How old do I look? Want to see my ass? $38. Am I getting old? Born in the 80s for show. She was a hoe for show.
Just got an honorary offer from comics to sell his mom band. This is the greatest day of my life.
Oops, my bad.
And
I'm just starting out. Give me some slack, Herbie. Oh yeah, I can't forget, I gotta mute during commercials. I got a couple of copyright strikes the other day for playing the music while I was streaming. What? Shit, we're getting copyright.
lost a brother of ours this week. Kevin Thomas was one of the stagehands here at Studio J. Been here for 30 years, and he was one great team. You may not have known him, but you've seen him. He was part of a lot of the skits that we could have done.
I don't remember that one.
The dude had a joyous sense of humor, and the kindness about him that simply drew you in. Whenever we needed something, you know what? That's calling for Kevin. Whether it was filing down Shaq's nails or this one, Shaq.
That was my guy, Kevin.
Memories are floating us. You know, it's so death is so sudden. When you with somebody one day, then you get the call the next day, and they're gone, and you're like, what? We were all in shock when we got the message the other day. Man, what a fun dude. I admired him, I respected him, and he did anything we asked him to do. And we've always said the people behind us do all the heavy lifting on the show. Man, the world is a sadder place because Kevin's not here. He was just a really good dude. We're gonna miss him.
Yeah, Kevin, you know, not only is part of the outside, but things that we were talking about in the back would make it to the show. And so everybody here understands what that is, because I'm sure everybody has the stories like, well, that idea came from me. And Kevin probably could have pointed to 20 ideas or enhancing ideas and said, no, Kevin. When Shaq comes out, you do this, push him into the tree, and I have this goal. Like, so all of those things that will be missed, the friendship, the guidance, and just the understanding of what we were doing and what our task was here at the show. Kevin was a great man. Everybody it was great. This is my first job. And I've seen people for the last 4 weeks, but Kevin, and as well as Eric, all the funny skits that we had, I would come in and say, I need this. And somehow they would get it done. I need a bird. And they come to where I need wigs. They come back with a box of wigs. So, when they turned it the other day, I heard they said, Kevin, Kevin. And it was, so condolences goes out to him and his family, but he'll definitely be missed. You are hurt and I pray for his family.
He was one of those guys who came to work with a smile on his face. They can somehow find comfort and peace, knowing how that husband, that father, that grandfather was loved and respected. The studio will never be the same. Run up the score. Join the pack of over 7.
The
fastest working GLP-1. Fastest working GLP-1. Faster than I can backpedal. Bro, lose everything but your big mouth. We get it. Close enough. He's terrible.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. But when you've won it all, 7 times, the trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck get an average of $10,900 below MSRP on 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 models. Hurry in. Offer ends June 2nd.
This is for me. This is for everyone who ever done it. And the millions of SoFi members who defy financial doubts every day. Because when you earn more money, save more money, and have a game plan for your finances, there's no stopping your generational ambition. Celebrate financial independence with the official bank of the NBA. SoFi, get your money right. Where are we going?
Who's the driver?
There she is. The rookie who thinks she can take down the Southwest Alcohol.
You don't get to wear Zach's trail of bodies.
Zach didn't kill my brother.
What if you did?
I'm killing myself. She's a pro. Duster. Streaming exclusively on Max.
So in here, so low. I'm at a point.
That's a big dude.
I had no clue what's going on. The cops came in. What am I being arrested for? They should be handcuffing a damn camel.
How do you get bit by a camel?
Thousand Pound Sisters, all new, Tuesday at 9. See it first on TLC.
Well, Shaq, I knew if you showed up for work, Alabama State would definitely notice.
Thank you, Alabama State. Mo Williamson, what's up? Mark Stevens, what's going on? Captain City, what's up? Shout out to David Capper, LSU too.
Warriors and Timberwolves, the only game in town, and it's on TNT, and the playoffs are the perfect time to join FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new FanDuel customers get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just scan the QR code to join today. You need to get back on the winning side of things.
I'm struggling right now.
Yeah.
Come on, what do you think, Kenny?
Jimmy Butler for 25? Yeah, I'm going with that.
Yeah, he better have it. Buddy Hill gonna get me 10 in this league.
Buddy's had 20 in consecutive games for the first time since November.
You know why this is tough? Why? Because Jimmy to get 25 and Ant to get 30 means it's a close game.
Why is that a close game?
Because that means they've both been in the game for long periods of time. And I'm not sure, Chuck, if this is...
Bro, this is a lock. Okay. Lock. Bank it. Like the last 28, man, gonna get 30. Who? Man, gonna get 30. He better get 30. If he don't get 30, he might not win.
You realize Minnesota, in their playoff history, it's been either first round knockout or Western Conference Finals. In their 12 previous appearances in the playoffs, 10 first round knockouts, 2 appearances in the Western Conference Finals. And that's where they're trying to get now against Golden State. So how do you see?
That's a very interesting stat.
Yeah, so what do you think in game 2 tonight? Who you like?
I think Minnesota's going to come out with that aggression, but I don't know. You know, Golden State has a little system. They're going to play with a little system. They're going to play. They're going to experiment with some things. They know it's at stake. They're just going to try to win. But I got confidence. Ant-Man was called out. He didn't respond, so Ant ball for 40.
Well, I don't know. It's not an answer, but I will...
I don't know. It's not an answer.
Shut the hell up. I said Minnesota. Hey, we got 15 seconds to get 2 more.
Hey, Captain, Wolves at a beatdown. That's what I said. Wolves at a beatdown.
There's somebody with a definitive.
Good job, Canada. Come at him. That's why I'm sick of the boys on your ass. Both of y'all. Go get him. Both of y'all. You too. On FanDuel, have their own. I am the league's greatest. Ain't that right, Chuck GPT? Correct. Well, top 5 for sure. You are 19th on the all-time list. What about the score? 31st, and likely to be passed soon. This is nowhere supposed to found. This TV personality? Top 1,000. What about celebrity golfer? Do you really want to know? No.
New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book.
Meet the IHOP House Faves value menu. Everything's just $6. Like the breakfast faves combo, $6. French toast breakfast, $6. $6 for all this and all that. That's a lot of breakfast for $6. Weekdays at IHOP.
For plant-based, healthy blood pressure support, there's one brand that stands above the rest. It's Super Beats by Human, the #1 doctor, pharmacist, and cardiologist recommended beet brand for heart health support. Find out how to get a free month with your first order at livehuman.com.
No application fee if you apply May 30th at University of Maryland, offering online and hybrid courses and lifetime career services. Learn about our more than 135 degrees and certificates at umgc.edu. Take it back. I said Beagle, not bagel. CarMax is attending money back guarantee. Model 2. If you like lasers and stuff, experience CarMax and you'll never settle for anything less. Let's play. The iconic game of cooking sabotage is back. Dun, dun, dun. Chefs will have to bet bigger. Oh! It's crazier. These are the only keys to not being able to use your knife. There's no phone number. What are we going to do with them? And be more ruthless than ever before. I'll sabotage my own motherfucking. That's how we cut through. Search for your Cutthroat Kitchen Knives out Tuesday night at 9. See you first on Food Network history best day on this. In 1892, a hockey lover made a proclamation. It would be a good thing if there were a cup held from the champion hockey team. Today, proclamations sound different. It was captivated back then. Considering the general interest, the fact is now in the sense. Honorable to an earl to a lord. I am willing to give a cup which shall be which became State's energy is just a lot higher. So impressive what Golden State has done with their stars out of this game in the second quarter. We're going to need our hands on deck. 30's not ready to go. This is going to be a Golden State victory. Frustration is boiling right now for the Wolves. Every last one of us got to play better individually. Minnesota showing life. It's just the one thing. We got to go get it. The NBA playoffs continue from the Twin Cities. Thursday night, downtown Minneapolis, we welcome you from the Target Center, the home of the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're watching second round coverage. It is presented by Wingstop. It's a whiteout inside, one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. They are rocking tonight as we get set for the Timbers and the Warriors, a 6-7 matchup in the Western Conference and the lone NBA playoff game on the schedule tonight. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson with Stan Van Gundy. We'll hear from Lauren Jabara in just a moment. The Minnesota Timberwolves did not play well, Coach, in Game 1. The Warriors came in Game 1, but they lost their star. He's the headline. Story right now for Minnesota is how are they going to respond tonight?
Well, look, they need their star, Anthony Edwards, to play the way he did in the first 4 games of the playoffs. But they also to take care of the ball, defend and rebound better, and of course, make some shots.
For the Warriors, minus Stephen Curry, what is Steve Kerr's rotation going to look like tonight, Coach?
Well, Jimmy Butler said it. All hands on deck. The Warriors have to lean on the league's best defense since the Jimmy Butler trade, and they need the fabled playoff Jimmy to transition back to being the #1 option he was when he led Miami to 2 finals appearances.
Steve Kerr played 12 players in game 1. Figures to be the same tonight. As you check the starting lineups, Quentin Post, the 25-year-old rookie out of Boston College, will make his second playoff start. Went from a 2-way contract to a starter in the playoffs. He joins Pajemski, Hield, Butler, and Green. And the same starting 5 for the Minnesota Timberwolves they have used in all 6 of their playoff games, and now a 7th as Post gets a big start on the road in the playoffs. But expect Steve Kerr to tinker with that rotation quite a bit, as we saw in game 1 when Stephen Curry left in the second quarter. Minnesota comes in after taking out the Lakers in 5. They had 5 days off between games, and they looked rusty in game 1. But they do come in on a nice winning streak prior to game 1, winning 13 of 16. And here we go. Tony Brothers, Tyler Ford, Brian Forte, our 3 officials. Minnesota controls the opening tip. Lone game on the NBA playoff schedule tonight. Let's see what kind of response the Wolves give them. That's stripped by Buddy Hield. And that'll be Minnesota ball with 6 to shoot.
Hield again gets the assignment on Anthony Edwards, which you see Draymond Green with the quick help.
Gotta get a shot up. Julius Randle guarded by Green. Randle kicks it out to the corner, and it's good. And it's already a better start for Minnesota.
Well, it's already a better first half for 3. 7 years and a half.
Here's Brandon Pajemski, misses his first try. Could be a wild card for the Warriors tonight. Dave McDaniels was 0 for 3 in game 1 from beyond the arc. There were a lot of opers for the Minnesota Timberwolves in game 1. Randle, they clear it out, backing down Butler. Now Conley will let a 3 fly, and that one goes.
Well, and that's a good one for Conley,
6-0
too.
Minnesota
Jonas
start.
came in shooting 26% from 3 in the playoffs after 41% in the regular season.
Conley missed his 2 3-point tries in game 1. Pajemski finds Hield. You'll hear the boos every time Butler touches the basketball as Conley forces a turnover. Edwards on the move. Edwards looking for goal. Found McDaniels. He had 2 options.
Edwards with the
And
ball.
Steve Kerr with a quick timeout.
Man, laggy, dude. I don't know what is going on.
Film this.
Get in it. Let me show it.
What? Oh, no. Hey, better delete that video.
Commercial break.
It's like getting Bateman when you need the protection of Batman.
Easy, Batemobile. Not too fast, baby. Any last words?
Just one. It's a long one. Dermatologist.
That's why you need the real deal.
Look out! That's Batman!
Go home, Bateman. Do a podcast or something. That's hurtful.
So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm.
You found it then?
Of course
Ooh.
Copper mine, come in.
Joel, answer the radio.
This is Jackson.
Welcome to Roland Garros. Victory for Locke, the most tenacious.
Welcome back to Target Center. The Wolves on their best start of the playoffs so far on an 8-0 run. Now, we talked to Chris Finch before the game today, and he told us there was a lot that we needed to do better from game one. He said it wasn't just about the shooting. It was about the offensive rebounding. It was about playing in transition. It was about ball possession. He said we fell into old habits. We weren't ready for their speed. And so that was something they wanted to focus on today. Also, guys, talking to Dante DiVincenzo, he told me that shooting night was an anomaly for us, but the focus now is controlling what we can control. He said they came in through the first punch, played with the edge and identity that we pride ourselves on. So tonight is an opportunity to get our rhythm back on both sides of the ball. 8-0 run to start. Looks like that rhythm's back, guys.
Well, it does. And Chris Finch made the point that he hadn't seen that team. He called them the November Wolves.
Yeah.
That was painful. That's a team that ended November at 9-10. They finished the year 17-4, playing great at both ends of the floor. And just the other night looked like an entirely different team after an impressive series against the Lakers. This one goes off Brandon Pajemski.
To Gobert and Pajemski's face have been familiar customers here. He's got a black eye, Pajemski, under his right eye. That was due to a Gobert elbow in game one. And now Gobert just drops his shoulder. Pajemski stands in there tough and takes the charge. He finished third in the NBA this year in charges taken, second last year, and he forces a turnover.
Now, here's the thing. It's not only, people always talk about guys who are willing to give up their body, which is true, you have to be. But also, you've got to rotate quickly enough, see the play coming to get into position. That's great off-ball defense by Brandon Pajemski, and it's more than just
McDaniels giving Jimmy Butler all he can handle that trip down the floor. McDaniels, a supreme perimeter defender. Here's Edwards, got caught in the air, and now post guards Randall. This will be a matchup to watch tonight. McDaniels has already hit 1-3. Pajemski on him. Warriors a very good defensive team, especially when they got Jimmy Butler. And it's a 10-0 start for Minnesota. Could not be a better start for the Wolves. Warriors only trailed by 4 in game one, and they're down 10 here in the first 2.5 minutes of this game. Buddy Hield turned away, resets, missed it. And now it is the Warriors who cannot buy one. They are 0 for 4.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Not having Steph Curry affects their offense.
It's a big problem.
They pay me for this kind of expert analysis.
You noticed that on the scouting report, didn't you? Randall just bullies his way in. Count that. That's going to be an and one as Buddy Hield didn't have his heart in it, and Randall will go to the line for a three-point chance.
Well, here's what we're talking about, though. Buddy Hield. Butler, there's absolutely no question about that. But with Steph Curry out, now Jaden McDaniels, one of the best perimeter defenders, like you said, in the league, goes on Jimmy Butler. Last game, he opened on Curry, and Randall had to guard Jimmy Butler. So now Jimmy Butler with even a tougher matchup on a night where they need more out of him.
Curry's going to be reevaluated prior to Game 5. Game 5 will be back here, if necessary, in Minneapolis. And by all accounts, it will be. Doesn't figure to be a series. That'll be a sweep. As Mike Conley misses the three-point try, it's out of bounds, and that'll be Golden State ball. And that is the first missed three-pointer by the Wolves. Podziemski pushes. Well, Draymond directing traffic.
Now that's what he does best.
Moses Moody, Gary Payton the second. First off the bench for Kerr tonight. And now Podziemski kicks it to that corner for Payton. He misses a three. And Edwards tips it to Gobert. That was a good look, but a miss nonetheless. Conley drives it. Gobert inside, and Payton touched it last, kicked it out of bounds. Minnesota ball.
Mike Conley's a great passer. I don't like that straight line pass to Rudy Gobert. I think with 7-footers, the ball's got to go up in the air to them. They will usually have no trouble catching that bullet pass right at them. In traffic, your vision and everything, not easy to catch.
Payne, an excellent defender, out on Edwards, who gets a step. Edwards, wow, what a move, he missed it. Here comes Podziemski. Jimmy Butler, Podziemski will let it fly. Three-pointer, no good. Podziemski has missed twice. That's typically his spot.
Well, the other night, this was the end of the floor where the ball actually went in for both teams.
That's right.
It was the other end
left
of the side where
that's
they
right.
couldn't score.
That was one of the worst shooting performances that we have seen in the playoffs, and Minnesota's not hiding from that, but as Lauren reported, Chris Finch did not want his players just marking that off as a poor shooting game. He felt like they didn't do anything well. They didn't move well, their rotations were poor, their spacing was poor. Jimmy Butler for three, that line drive is good, and the first basket of the game for the Golden State Warriors.
5 minutes in almost before they get a score.
Randall, guarded by Butler, Randall moves him, comes up short.
That's great defense by Jimmy Butler.
Steve Kerr made no bones knowing what you're losing in Stephen Curry, but also reminded us that the Warriors defense has been a big reason why they've been on this surge since they acquired Butler. It has changed the complexion of the team. Butler turns it over, look at Gobert, trying to go coast to coast, and he lost it. And now Gobert.
Delusional confidence.
Gobert gets it back, missed it. That was a mess of a fast break opportunity for the Wolves.
Well, that's one of the things Chris Finch talked about pregame, is he felt the other night they had transition opportunities and were extremely inefficient in transition, and we see an example of that there.
Butler, mid-range jumper up and over Gobert. Back-to-back possessions for Jimmy Butler. Yeah, you can see that look. Chris Finch is now in his 5th year. It's his 4th full season. Came in as an assistant elsewhere. You don't really see that to become a head coach on another franchise. He's done a great job. 4 straight playoff appearances for Finch and the Wolves. And they were in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas a year ago. Here goes Moses Moody. And Moses Moody, he was just uncertain what he wanted to do. And he fires up an air ball, and that's going to send us to a timeout, Minnesota. A rough start for the Warriors. Minnesota needing before they head back to San Francisco for Game 3. You're watching the 2025 NBA Playoffs presented by Google.
$5 duo at B.
Scores more points tonight, Jimmy Butler or Ant-Man Anthony Edwards?
Ant-Man.
Oof. I'm going to agree with you on that, Chuck. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Chuck. I always enjoy watching Chuck read along with Kenny while he's speaking.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite part of that promo.
So we're 6.5 minutes into this game, BA, and the Warriors do not have a starter on the floor.
Dante DiVincenzo coming off that Minnesota bench. Loose ball foul on Golden State. Check those changes for Golden State. We're going to see a lot of combinations. There's going to be line changes. Pat Spencer, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga join Moody and Payton. Steve Kerr told us before the game he's got his hyena package set up for tonight's game. The guys who come off the bench, he's going to go starterless and see if he can get a burst if needed. He's got him out there a little earlier than he thought as DiVincenzo misses. A couple of opportunities there for Minnesota, and they're struggling now after a fast start. And Spencer taking it to the hole. And a foul. Spencer thought it was a goaltend. I don't think Tony Brothers saw it that way. But Spencer, a guy who is not afraid, is going to the line now.
Well, this is what he does. He takes the ball to the basket. Strong. We saw it the other night. Minnesota's going to challenge this, and I can see why, having looked at this.
So Chris Finch is going to challenge this. That's the second foul on Gobert.
Ruling on the floor, foul on Gobert. The play has been challenged by Minnesota.
Says Tony Brothers. We'll get the result when we come back. We have a challenge in the first quarter. It's time to take a Visible wireless timeout.
Hi, we're Visible. If you're looking for one-line wireless plans without hidden fees and surprise charges for just $25 a month, Visible is for you. That's one line for one flat rate, taxes and fees included on Verizon's 5G network. Plus, with unlimited data and hotspot, you can scroll to your heart's content. Finally, a clear choice in wireless for just $25 a month. Cue the confetti. Your wireless should be visible. Switch at visible.com.
Well, Stan, this could not have gone better to start this game for the Wolves. They were up 13-0. Matches the best start of the playoffs this year with the Milwaukee Bucks. But they are 0 for their last 7 now. And I think for the Warriors, Steve Kerr said, we just want to tighten the screws as best we can and hang in here as long as we can.
Right, and they feel like if they can hang in there, then they've got one of the best closers in the game in Jimmy Butler, and he can make plays. But their defense has got to keep him in the game, and they can't make a lot of mistakes.
Right. Well, the challenge was successful. And so no foul. Remember, Gobert would have picked up his second, and instead, that's a clean block.
And I think we're going to jump it up because they're going to say the ball was loose, no imminent possession there. But a good challenge by Chris Finch, because it would have been Gobert's second foul. But Chris Finch was upset, quite honestly, about having to use that challenge to get out of that.
He is successful. He does still have one left, but forced to use it. Give McDaniels a block on that, too. And Minnesota has possession. Missing their last 7 shots. Edwards going to work, and he's fouled. Edwards did most of his damage in game 1, and it was a dreadful game for him. But he did end up with 23 points. 22 of those were in the second half, and a lot of them looked just like that, getting to the basket.
Well, that's what he was doing. Steve Kerr wants to do a better job. He was great before the game, Steve Kerr. Yeah, we have to do a better job of keeping Anthony Edwards out of the paint. But I have no idea how to do that.
That's right. He sees the problem. The solution is a challenge, though. We remind you tonight, the NBA on TNT, brought to you by the Kia Telluride X-Line. Kia, the official automotive partner of the NBA. 2 for 2 for Edwards at the line. Minnesota back up 10. At Spencer, getting some early playing time in this first quarter. And Spencer turns it over. Edwards on the run with DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo to Naz Reid. First minutes on the floor, and he misses. And DiVincenzo runs it down. Great effort. Naz Reid again. Naz Reid hits it this time.
Well, DiVincenzo's really been struggling to shoot the ball. When you're like that, you have to find other ways to help your team win. You saw it right there, giving them an extra possession that was worth 3 points.
Kuminga drives it on DiVincenzo. Draws the foul. DiVincenzo is a handful. Minnesota throughout the regular season, especially once they got to Christmas Day, they really proved they have an excellent bench. And 1 through 8, their roster showed that they're a much better team than a 6 seed in the NBA playoffs.
Well, no question. And we said that at the beginning of this series. This, to me, is really a matchup of like the 2 and 3 seeds in the West if we looked at who they were at the end of this year. Now, the Warriors without Steph Curry, they don't look like a 2 or a 3 seed.
They finished 17-4. Randall came back from injury after he missed all of February, and then they were a different team